Soulless.
There are spirits hovering by the veil to observe the thrones of powerful nations, the machinations, betrayals. After our time in Halam Sharal, I understand why. I had forgotten how I missed court intrigue.
Huh.
You miss court intrigue? When were you at court?
Oh, well, never directly, of course. An elven apostate is rarely invited to speak with empresses and kings. But from the Fade, I have watched dynasties form and empires crumble. It is sometimes savage, sometimes noble, and always fascinating. In any event, Celine should now be a steadfast ally. And Brialla as well, thanks to your efforts on her behalf.
I hope Brialla is able to use her position to help your people.
How would helping Brialla help? Oh, you mean elves? I'm sorry, I was confused. I do not consider myself to have much in common with the elves.
Who do you have much in common with? Who are your people?
A good question. I joined the Inquisition to save the world. Regardless of who my people are, this was the best way to help them. As for the elves of Orlais, I believe Brialla is doing quite well on their behalf. She is an admirable woman.
She's done good work. Hopefully, with our help, she can help them even more.
Yes. However much I identify, or fail to identify, with her people, Brialla's efforts have been remarkable. She organized resistance against a powerful enemy, using only her wits and the resources at hand. That demands respect, especially in a world where most would look at her and only see a pair of pointed ears.
Yeah. I mean, she's done some dirty deeds, but apparently
What can I do for you?
Nobody in Orlais hasn't.
I'd be interested in hearing your opinions on elven culture.
Perhaps you could ask Sarah. She has opinions.
If I wanted Sarah's opinions, I'd be talking to her.
And learning some colorful new idioms, no doubt. What do you wish to know?
I didn't mean to be so direct, but I guess at this point, Serafino's maybe just a little at ends. I mean, especially with the whole fight with Corypheus, he kind of wants this over with. So, Sol's wanting to beat around the bush this way. Sometimes he'd be a little more direct with him, even though it's going to cost me friendship, which makes me sad.
I'd like to know more about the elves from before our time.
The Dalish strive to remember Halam Sharal. But Halam Sharal was merely a fumbling attempt to recreate a forgotten land.
Arlathan.
Elvanan was the empire, and Arlathan its greatest city. Place of magic and beauty, lost to time.
You've studied ancient elves. What else do you know of Arlathan?
We hear stories of them living in trees, and imagine wooden ramps or Dalish aeravels. Imagine instead spires of crystal twining through the branches, palaces floating among the clouds. Imagine beings who lived forever, for whom magic was as natural as breathing. That is what was lost.
I'd like to know more about the Dalish elves.
It is a mistake to think of the Dalish as a single group. They have lived as separate clans for centuries now. As a consequence, each clan has learned, interpreted, and forgotten different parts of elven history. Some trade freely with humans, or adopt city elves who flee the alienages. Others attack humans on sight.
What can you tell me about elves living in human cities?
The culture in alienages or among the slaves of Tevinter is like any of the impoverished and powerless. They cling to memories of a better past, and practice a few rituals to distinguish themselves from humans.
Is elven magic different from the magic used by humans?
No and yes. Magic is magic, just as water is water, but it can be used in different ways. Dalish magic is more practical, not needing chantry approval, although they still frown on blood magic. Superstition. Much of it is more subtle. A legacy from when elves were immortal.
Legends of elven immortality. Did they use magic to increase their lifespan?
No. It was simply part of being elven. The subtle beauty of their magic was the effect, not the cause of their nature. Some spells took years to cast. Echoes would linger for centuries, harmonizing with new magic in an unending symphony. It must have been beautiful.
You said that the censure against blood magic was a superstition.
I did. It's fortunate Cassandra is not within earshot. Most modern cultures forbid blood magic. Publicly, even Tevinter disapproves of it. But as I said, magic is magic. It matters only in how it is used.
See, that's an interesting point, because for the longest time, especially what we've seen in Dragon Age 1, and especially what we've seen in Dragon Age 2, you only ever see blood magic as being used as a tool for evil. But if you think about it, blood magic, using the power of blood, I mean, could even have more likely beneficial properties as far as, like, healing magics. For instance, I mean, if somebody has a disease or anything like that, you could figure you could probably use blood magic to heal that kind of stuff if they really wanted to apply themselves. So, I mean, magic in itself, unlike, I would say, modern weaponry, it's a tool that can be used, but isn't always necessarily... Its only purpose is not to cause destruction. It could be for creation or alteration and so on. I think, giving all that Serafino has seen and learned, at this point, I think he'd be more open to different kinds of magics. Because again, he's come to realize, especially with Corypheus as an example, it's not so much the magic being used that's evil, but the person wielding it.
To be honest, I don't see it as different from any other magic. It's a means to an end.
Indeed. The problem is that under the Chantry, blood magic is forbidden, so only criminals practice it. While in Tevinter, magisters compete with each other, instead of keeping their volatile friends in check. They always succeed through power, so they have never had the chance to learn another way.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Anything else?
Inquisitor.
I need to know more about Corypheus.
He has lost his army, and he has lost Orlais. That eliminates military or political means to rebuild Tevinter. He will need to demonstrate that no one in this world can stand against his magic. It will not be subtle.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
So everybody agrees. Just like I was trying to say before, we got Corypheus against the ropes. He's desperate. He's probably going to do something big and stupid. Dorian, give me something. Yes.
Anything interesting?
A letter regarding a friend. I mentioned Alexis to you, didn't I? His son. I was trying to discover what became of him. Where he ended up.
And?
Nothing. Redcliffe is abandoned, and there's no trace of him. It's as if he never existed. I think the Venatori found out he was helping me. I think they killed him.
Are you all right?
He was ill, and thus on borrowed time anyhow.
That doesn't mean you can't regret his death.
I know. Felix used to sneak me treats from the kitchens when I was working late in his father's study. Don't get into trouble on my behalf, I tell him. I like trouble, he'd say. Tevinter could use more mages like him. Those who put the good of others above themselves.
With the two of you...
Felix and I? What an odd question. No, there was nothing between us. He was just a fine young man. Better than I. Maybe if the world were a better place, he'd be here instead of me.
What was he doing in Redcliffe if he wasn't part of the Venatori?
He was there with his father. In fact, Felix was the reason I knew where the Venatori were. He planned to help if you came to Redcliffe, I understand. He had so much more than I to lose by helping. He should be alive, not I.
You make it sound like he was a better person than you.
What a mad thing to say. Few people are better than I. Very well, a better person, clearly, not nearly as handsome. Thankfully, Felix wasn't the only decent sort kicking around Thedas.
Aww. Thank you for that compliment.
Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. Saving the day, reconciling lovers, mediating a civil war. So sugary, it's nauseating. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick.
Happy to oblige. A taste of home just for you.
Not just for me. Fun for the whole family.
Perhaps I should have invited some.
We were there. That's what counts. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating.
Kind of throwback to Dragon Age 2 as well.
You said Alexius was a mentor of yours.
He was my patron, sponsoring me to the higher levels of the Circle of Magi. In return, my successes were his. I had a lot of successes, naturally. Alexius was most pleased. He and I used to talk over brandy about the corruption, how we could one day make real change in the Imperium. And then he gave up. He stopped trying.
Why did he give up?
On a journey to Hosburg, a Darkspawn raid killed his wife and sickened his son. I remember hearing the news. He hadn't been there, you see. Alexius was convinced he could have protected them. The guilt tore him up. I helped him with his research for a while, and then we drifted apart.
That must have been difficult.
Back then, I was furious. I told him to snap out of it, move on. I thought I had all the answers. Later, I regretted my hasty words. But we didn't speak again until he approached me for the Venatori. Too much pride, I suppose. Plus, I was busy drinking. One must have priorities.
Was it hard being away from him?
It was hard not having a patron, yes. Not exactly built to fit in. At any rate, he's dead now. More's the pity.
I should go.
Try not to kill anyone without me. Questions.
I should go.
Try not to kill anyone without me.
Alright, so nothing there. Something going on down there. Oh, I think that's Mother's cell.
My dear, I'm afraid I must ask you for help. There is an alchemical formula that I must complete, but I have been unable to obtain a critical ingredient. The heart of a snowy wyvern. I had arranged to obtain one, but the chevaliers working with me were killed in the civil war.
If I'm going to hunt down a snowy wyvern, I need you to tell me everything you know about it.
They're quite rare and exceedingly dangerous. Their venom is the most potent of any wyvern. Ordinary hunters would not make the attempt. The risk is too great. You, my dear, would certainly be an equal to this monster.
I didn't know you were an alchemist, Vivian. What exactly is this project you're working on?
It is a special request from a member of the Council of Heralds. I am still the Imperial Court Enchanter, after all. The matter is private. That is all there is to say.
You want me to risk my life to get this thing for you, but won't tell me what it's for.
My dear, it is hardly proper for me to blab the secrets of those who put trust in my discretion. I would do no less for you, after all.
I'm not a hunter. Why do you think I can help?
This beast is not hunted for sport, as other wyverns sometimes are. It is far more deadly. In the past, chevaliers have been dispatched to either kill the creatures or drive them away from villages. Since my chevaliers have fallen to political conflict, I find myself in need of someone with a martial aptitude.
Damn it, now this kind of throws me in a very similar situation I am not particularly happy with. Nor did it have the best outcome. I mean, the thing is, unlike the other person whom I will not name, because they do not deserve for me to name them, I mean, Vivian has definitely been more than forthcoming with almost everything so far, with the exception of this. I mean, her goals pretty much align with the Circle. She's not... I mean, she vies for power, but she vies for power within her station, so to speak, like within her area. So she's trying to be the top there, but she hasn't really tried to progress any further. And Heart of Snowy Wyvern is something else, especially when it's supposed to be considered as potently deadly when it comes to venom, as she's describing. But I don't think this is going to be for an evil boomy boom, kill everything kind of thing. Not to mention, I may know this, but again, we're going based off of what Serafino knows. Serafino's the character, and I don't like metagaming too much. So he would not be aware of what was involved with that person doing the thing they never should have done and got murder knifed for. So, considering that he's been more than willing to help Vivian, and Vivian's been nice to him, I'd say that he'd help her.
I'll do what I can.
Thank you, my dear. I would be most grateful. I shall give the location of its lair to Cullen. Remember, my dear, I must have its heart, or the potion will not work. I eagerly await your success.
But it's funny hearing her say it like that, because it's almost like she's an evil queen from a Disney film. Give me her heart. Bring it to me. Well, that may have been what they intended.
Here is the request, the leader of the tradesmen.
Ooh, almost level 17. Let's go speak to Liliana.
So it's true. Some look to Cassandra or even me as Justinia's successor. I never thought the idea would gain momentum. Of course, with the other candidates out of the picture...
Is becoming divine something you really want?
When Justinia was alive, I would have laughed at anyone who even suggested that I could be her successor. Things have changed. Still, I don't know. Restoring the Chantry will be like trying to steer a sinking vessel through a storm.
Whoever becomes divine will have my support if she requires it.
And I'm sure whoever becomes divine will absolutely require the Inquisition's backing. The Chantry is faltering, but it still has influence over the people. Who tells the people what's right? Who do they look to in times of peril? A divine with enough support can change the Chantry. And with it, Thedas. But this is a discussion for later. If Corypheus wins, finding a new divine will be the least of our problems.
Very true. But we're going to make sure that doesn't happen. Highly doubt it will.
A message from Divine Justinia.
That's a shock. You all right reading it?
Thank you for the concern, Inquisitor. But I am. This message was written months, perhaps even years ago, to be delivered to me if she died. I've heard of such contingency plans. A sudden death often leaves loose ends. I'm to go to Valence, a small village on the waking sea. There is something hidden there.
You know what you're looking for?
The Divine was a powerful woman who used her position to obtain all sorts of things. Whatever she hid in Valence would very likely benefit the Inquisition, and must be kept from falling into the wrong hands. If I'm lucky, she will have instructions for me.
That seems kind of like an asshole thing to say, so I'm not going to say that.
Why hide things in Valence? What's so special about it?
Justinia was revered mother at the Chantry there for many years before she became the Divine. It is a place that holds great meaning for her.
I'll help in whatever way I can.
Wonderful. I was hoping you would agree to come with me to Valence. One more thing. If what is hidden in Valence is as valuable as I think, we're not going to be the only ones looking for it. I shall meet you at the Chantry in Valence. Try not to delay.
Okay, so I'm getting more companion quests. That's good, because it's exactly what I wanted. Is that I really enjoyed the moments where you get to learn more about the personality and character of your companions and advisors. Definitely adds more depth to the story. Far more interesting as well. And even just adds to what you're doing. Oh, wait. You just appeared here, so this must be important.
My Lord Inquisitor, it's good of you to speak with me. I have news regarding one of your companions, the Tevinter.
Oh,
Is that a note of distaste I detect, Mother Giselle?
I admit his presence here makes me uncomfortable, Inquisitor, but my feelings are of no importance. I have been in contact with his family. House Pravas, out of Carenas. Are you familiar with them?
yeah, but why would you be talking to them?
He's mentioned his family. They don't appear to be on good terms.
Yes. I believe you're correct. The family sent a letter describing the estrangement from their son and pleading for my aid. They've asked to arrange a meeting quietly without telling him. They fear it's the only way he'll come. Since you seem to be on good terms with the young man, I'd hoped...
Just what kind of meeting do you have in mind?
I believe they just want to talk, to understand why Dorian felt he had to come here. Somewhere private, away from Skyhold, but not in Tevinter. You make them nervous, I think. They don't understand why he's here with the Inquisition. They want him to come home.
What happens if Dorian doesn't agree?
Hopefully that will be the end of it. If not, well, that's why you should be there.
Why would his family contact you?
Because they don't know you, Inquisitor. I am not of the Imperial Chantry, but they know what I represent. These are parents concerned about the welfare of their son. How could I not do whatever possible? I would speak to the young man myself, but he does not care for me. Thus I come to you. If any good can come of this, we must try.
They don't want Dorian to know. That seems odd.
They believe the young man would refuse, and the letter implies he'd have cause. Yet, they are remorseful for whatever came before. This is a chance for dialogue. There is deceit in bringing the young man to this meeting without his foreknowledge, I know. But does it not lead to a greater kindness if there is potential for reconciliation?
Are you sure this isn't some kind of trap? I mean, the secrecy.
It did occur to me. What if it is a plot of those mages, the Venatori? Another reason to put this in your hands, Inquisitor. I pray that isn't the case. But if it is, you are far better equipped than I to respond to such treachery.
I'll see what I can do.
Bless you, Inquisitor. The family will send a retainer to meet the young man at the Red Cliff Tavern, to take him onward. If he truly does not wish this reunion, he can always end the matter there. I shall pray for your success, and the young man's happiness. That's all we can hope for, is it not?
So, don't want me to tell him. It needs to be a surprise. But guess what? Hey Dorian! Hey Dorian! Hey Dorian! Guess what? Guess what? Guess what?
Something you need?
Dorian, there's a letter you need to see.
A letter? Is it a naughty letter? A humorous proposal from some Antivan dowager?
Not quite. It's from your father.
From my father? I see. And what does Magister Hallward want, pray tell?
A meeting.
Show me this letter. I know my son? What my father knows of me would barely fill a thimble. This is so typical. I'm willing to bet this retainer is a henchman, hired to knock me on the head and drag me back to Tevinter.
You think your father would actually do that?
No, though I wouldn't put it past him. Let's go. Let's meet this so-called family retainer. If it's a trap, we escape and kill everyone. You're good at that. If it's not, I send the man back to my father with the message that he can stick his alarm in his wit's end.
There seems to be bad blood between you and your family.
Interesting turn of phrase. But you're correct. They don't care for my choices, nor I for theirs.
Because you wouldn't get married. Because you left.
That too.
You know, I'd just say let's go, because he is going to talk to him, but... Alright, no, let me actually say you should talk to him.
I think you should meet with this retainer. Find out what your family wants.
I didn't ask what you thought, did I? That was unworthy, I apologize. There'd be no harm in hearing what this man of my father's has to say. If I don't like it, however, I want to leave.
Your parents are reaching out to you. Doesn't that mean something?
Only that they're trying to choke me. Don't mind me. Let's see what comes of this.
Yay! More companion quests. So I got one for Vivian, got one for Dorian. See who else we can speak to that might be able to get us going places. I think we're good on the judgments. Yeah, because there's no people standing there. Typically there'll be somebody standing there. I just want to speak to Cole and the rest of them, though.
How bracing to be in the thick of the game again. The last time I was at Alam Shiral was Countess Letienne's wedding. There were a dozen affairs, 5 secret alliances, and a duel between 2 chevaliers over the vintage of an Antivan port. But until the Duchess was unmasked, I've never seen the Winter Palace in shock.
No one can say the evening wasn't memorable.
They've already begun composing songs about it in Val Royale, no doubt. The game's become increasingly insular in the past few years. Corypheus skillfully took advantage. It's disturbing so few people in the Orlesian court were aware of the Duchess's machinations.
The Empress realized she was in danger.
She's always in danger. Those loyal to her should have practiced more vigilance. But let's not lose sight of victory. Your actions at the ball have secured us allies and favors alike.
Playing the game was thrilling. We did just make history.
Indeed. Tales of this affair have begun circulating in Val Royale. Although I do wish Varric would show a bit more restraint in his accounts of the evening.
Of course. He's a storyteller. Come on, what do you expect? Alright, yeah, so war table, war table, war table. Let's see if we can actually hit war table missions this time around. I want to see the results of my previous outings and be able to set up some more before I go. But yes, we are definitely reaching close to endgame, as you can tell from the way things are actually going down and from the dialogue as well, from the advisors and from
I have
Morgan.
requests for information on your lineage.
Not there just yet, but like I said, we're getting there.
Parties at the Winter Palace.
Andraste preserve me. Feel free to use those requests as kindling.
No, I shall take them. I want to know who pines for our commander. We can use this to our advantage.
I'm not bait.
Hush. Just look pretty.
From Lord. Oh, damn. Alright, so they knew, but we got the spy back. I think. Did we? We may or may not have. I don't know. Let's take a look at some of what these are. Missing waste resources. Aid those impacted by the Civil War. Okay. Alliances. Getting things moving. Dance of the Dowager. Okay, so this is a different kind of dance. I should have seen that coming. Exalted Plains, resources, Emerald Graves, investigate the strange chalk marking. We looked at that before. Truth or Dare, the end game. Okay. Gift from the Imperial Palace. Okay, so that can only be done by Josephine. Considering she's the only one who can do it, I'll just send her on that now. Trouble, Red Jenny's. Let's see what the house is. Okay. I don't want to blackmail him. So we'll go ahead and do that. So we'll have Ileana dispatch information, so maybe they might assist us. Could also backfire, but I have faith in her abilities.
Inquisitor.
Trouble Red Jenny's. We can't do that now because we sent Liliana. Delicate negotiations. Oh, King Alistair. Nice. Unfortunately, we cannot do that because we don't have who we need. Aiden Kirkwall. The Fanatic Anders actions. Hey, it's Sebastian. Nice. See, escape routes for the agents. Can't do that right now. Gathering herbs. Judgment. The good work of Sir Ruth is available. Celebrate the dragon slaying. Nice. We'll probably continue that. I don't want to contact the hero Threllan yet. Hard in Hightown. Trouble in Skyhold. Diverting soldiers with frostbacks. Gather coin. Hinterland resources and Valamire resources. So I'll finish what I wanted to start, which is celebrating the dragon slaying the way I wanted to. Go ahead and have Colin give the parts to Wade and Heron because they're awesome with dealing with extraordinary parts. So that would probably be, in my opinion, the best use of it. Could probably come up with some pretty cool stuff for us.
All right.
Alright, so we're set on the war table. I'm going to go ahead, do a little bit more talking to everybody who's here, see where we stand, and then we'll continue on with some of the side quests before we go into the Arbor Wilds. So you can check out some of the areas, see some of the stuff that can go down. Because there's still certainly more to do. In the tavern in a moment. Go speak to my lady, Tips H and Fedora. I knew it! Damn it, I knew it!